And number 1 is, one second, offshore. So if you know the word shore, shore is like similar to coast, where the water meets the land. Offshore means off the shore, out in the sea, out in the middle of the sea. So a lot of times you might see this when they refer to offshore drilling, like for the oil. They have those big oil rigs, I think is what they call them, rigs. The big oil rigs that they build in the middle of the ocean to drill for oil. Offshore drilling, offshore, they're talking about these wind turbines that are offshore. They're just in the middle of the ocean, basically. Another way that you might see this word used a little differently is offshore account. If you're talking about someone's bank account, they might say offshore account. Now, of course, it does not mean the bank account is in the middle of the ocean. It just means the bank account is overseas, an international bank account. If there is some politician or some criminal or some businessman, he has his offshore account either for tax purposes or because they're hiding some money or something. You can see the word used that way. Number 2, to pave the way. Here, pave kind of just means prepare. To prepare the way, and it's going to be for someone or something. So if it's for someone, there are so many examples. I don't know if you're familiar with Bible stories, but John the Baptist paved the way for Jesus. He came before him and like kind of prepared everything. Or Martin Luther King is a very famous civil rights activist, but there were many other less famous people before him that paved the way. Probably you don't know their name. Marcus Garvey, Booker T. Washington, people like that helped elevate African American status and raise awareness so that finally Martin Luther King was there at the perfect place, perfect time. But there were many people before him that paved the way. I think this girl, Ala Weinstein, in the video is using it about energy, right? To pave the way for clean energy or to pave the way for renewable energy. We must make these changes or something like that. Pave the way, prepare the way. Number 3, strapped. So, this just means needy, wanting, not having enough, insufficient, not enough. A lot of times you will see it used with the word for. To be strapped for cash. If you say, I can't go out this weekend, I'm really strapped for cash. Same as saying, I'm broke. I don't have any money right now. I'm strapped for cash is a common expression. Maybe after some hurricane, the families are strapped for housing. There's not enough of it. You don't have to use the word for. You can just say strapped. That's how she uses it. Solid. Yeah. The energy needs are going to be strapped. Energy is strapped. Not enough energy. Completely unrelated to this topic, there is another meaning of strapped that maybe you might come into. It's a little bit of slang. If someone is strapped, it means maybe they have a gun, because the gun is actually on the strap. Strap can mean like a piece of cloth or something like that. So if you say, don't mess with him, he's strapped, he's strapping, means he has a gun on him. Maybe some gangster, if you watch some gangster film or something like that, you might see that. Number 4, embark on something, or a lot of times embark upon something. It means to begin a project, to begin a process. A lot of times when I see this word, it makes me think of embark upon some journey, some adventure. You're going to do some really long traveling, something like that. To embark upon some business, you are going to do some startup business. It means begin, but you do not say for really small stuff. If you say, okay, let's embark the test, let's embark this movie, start the movie. No, you cannot use it for small things like that. It's implying some really big, important type of project or process. Number 4, reliant, comes from the verb rely. The noun would be reliant. Adjective reliant. It means you are dependent. Again, this is number 4, embark on, embark upon. This also is used with those two words, reliant on, reliant upon something. What are you dependent on? You can be dependent on a person. That teenager is kind of a baby and really reliant on his parents. He does not have a lot of individuality or a lot of self-awareness, whatever. So the opposite you can use for people to describe someone as self-reliant. Oh, they don't need their parents, they don't need friends, they don't need husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. They are very self-reliant, self-dependent, similar to that. So you can be reliant on a person, or humans are reliant on non-renewable energy at the moment, right? So reliant upon someone, reliant on something, to rely on, to depend on. And number 6, conceive. This is the hardest one to explain. It really means to form or develop some idea in your mind. It's very simply, you could say think of, but it's more than that. It's showing that the pieces in your mind finally come together and you conceive some idea. You conceive some product idea, some business idea. Something is formed in your mind. So she uses it, the idea of Trident winds. Trident winds was conceived. That means she or her partner or whoever, they thought of this idea, they formed this idea, let's make this company, let's call it Trident Winds, blah, blah, blah. Another way that you could possibly use it is for a baby. Conceive a baby means to make a baby. That's why it comes from the noun, the verb conceive, noun, conception. So if you see some condom or birth control pills, a lot of times that is called anti-conception, something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Anti-conception, something like that. To conceive means to form a baby when the baby is actually made. Not giving birth, but when the baby is actually made. Okay, any questions about those 6 words?